Hey everybody, I want to talk to you today about coping in crisis. I created a short presentation for you to deal with the current crisis situation that we're going through, but also for you to use for other crises, big and small, throughout your life. So I hope that these 10 tips that I'm going to show you are actually things that I do in my own life, and I hope that they can be helpful to you too. All right, so here, let's get started. And let's just, um, sorry, there is a half a minute delay. Um, like I said, the name of this presentation is Coping in Crisis, and it's by me, Jeanette R. Harrison, MPH. And a little bit about my background. I have a history degree with a secondary education endorsement. And then I have a master's degree in public health, in policy and planning, and in administration. And I did, as part of those degree programs, I also did coursework that I didn't include here, in biology and health sciences. So that's also included. But I did considerable coursework in psychology. It's about 24 semester hours, something like that. So that's kind of my background. I have considerable healthcare experience, 20 years of healthcare experience, and that includes at one of my first jobs was as a medical transcriptionist, and I transcribe reports for an inpatient psychiatric hospital. And I also worked as a respite care provider for children with special healthcare needs, including mental health needs, and their families. And I also completed my public health practicum project, which is similar to a thesis, on the integrated evaluation and planning clinics, which also serve children with special healthcare needs, and approaches it from a holistic approach. And then I also was a graduate research assistant for geriatric psychiatric needs assessment, and then several other things. And then I also taught management at the university level for close to a decade. So that includes human resources management, healthcare management, and several other courses that are management related. So, and then what I really think qualifies me for a presentation in coping in crisis is my own life. If you've read the howhealthcareworks.net blog, you know that I've had a lot of different crisis experiences in my own life, and I've used those to propel myself forward and to create this presentation. So I hope that you'll find some of this useful for yourself. Okay, oh, there's my piece. So I'm going to give you 10 tips for coping in a crisis. And one of the things I like to do, and it's not on the list, but it's something that I like to do. I like to sit in kind of a quiet chair and in a quiet space. This one's outside in my yard under a tree, and just relax. And that's always a great thing to do, and a great time to just kind of clear your mind and maybe de-stress or decompress, or go through whatever happened that day, or maybe get ready for your day. So I like to sit outside in the quiet and just enjoy the weather and the yard and everything else. So that is one thing that you can do. That's not on my list, but that's something that I thought of as I added this picture. So one of the things you can do, the first tip I have, is to practice compassion. And we're all told to be kind to other people, pay it forward, practice random acts of kindness, things like that. But one of the things we don't do often, and I don't know about you, but I don't always do the best job of this, is practicing self-compassion. Because sometimes we think that what everybody else needs is more important than what we need. And that's just not the case. So you need to think about what you need sometimes too. And so, be kind to yourself, give yourself a break. You don't have to be perfect all the time. I say this as I am re-recording this presentation from yesterday because I wasn't happy with how it turned out. And I didn't like, my face was all dark and I didn't like it. So, I'm, that's one of the things I need to work on because I'm always like, well, that didn't look right. And so, and sometimes we are really critical of ourselves, even at work. Like we have expectations for ourselves that maybe other people don't have, or maybe at home, like sometimes I know I would like make dinner and I'm like, that was not good. And everyone else is like, oh, that's the best dinner ever. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But it just has to be like, make sure, if you oversleep one day, especially, or you were like, oh, I was going to do these 10 things today and I only did 5. Give yourself a break. It's okay. You'll be fine. I promise. Tomorrow, wake up and those things will still be there. So you can do them tomorrow. And that's another thing too, is don't extend yourself. And that will make it easier for you to practice compassion too, because then you won't feel like, oh, I didn't get everything done. And the reason you didn't get everything done is because you put too much on your plate for the day. So just be good to you. One of the things I really like to do is, my second tip is to exercise. And this is a walking trail that I went on when I was in Idaho last fall and in the South Hills. And even the people I know from Idaho were like, we're in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, so don't ask me exactly where it is because even they didn't know. But it's really beautiful, so beautiful. Anyway, so I walked on this trail and then, over here is kind of like a little ledge off to the edge, and I looked over the ledge and took some pictures and things like that. So it was really nice. And it was raining. I had my rain jacket on, but it was still really a nice day and beautiful scenery, as you can tell. The next thing I have on my list is to feel your emotions. And a lot of times people are afraid to admit that they have a full range of emotions, especially since we're in this kind of positive psychology movement going on around the country. And, I'm not a fan of positive psychology. I'm going to, in full disclosure, I'm not. I don't think that it is the best method because people use that honestly to diminish other people, like say, oh, you're so negative, be positive, stop being so negative, stop being so negative. And telling somebody to stop being negative is negative. So you're actually, the person telling the other person they're negative is actually negative. And I've found that the people who tell other people to not be negative are actually the negative ones. And so I just really don't like that whole be positive all the time. It's just not real. I don't like it. I'm not going to be that way because I am not that kind of person. And I'm going to have my full range of emotions. Really, what positive psychology is about, in case you're wondering, is it's about resiliency. And so if you're sad or upset or you're having a bad day, learning how to bounce back from those negative emotions into being more positive so the negative emotions don't overtake you. That's really what that's about. And if one of the things I've noticed in crisis is a lot of times people don't rely on positive psychology. Why? Because they need to feel those emotions, and that's okay. It's okay to feel all of your emotions. So it's okay to feel happy or sad or joyful or angry or faithful or anxious. A lot of people will turn to their religion during a crisis, and that's okay too. That's great. Whatever helps you get through it. So all of those emotions can happen all at once. It's just like a flood. Like the first day of the flood's coming, you're anxious and you're scared and you're upset and you're in a hurry and excited and your adrenaline's up and you're rushing out of the house to get away from the flood. Then you come back and you're happy that the floodwater is receded, but you walk into the house and you see destruction, so you're sad. And then once you get into the house, maybe your family heirlooms were saved, so you're joyful. And then maybe something else got ruined or some sparks were flying, so you're scared. And just all kinds of different things that you can feel in one block of time, really, in a crisis. It's like 1 minute you can be like up, like super happy, and the next minute it's like crash, and you're like unhappy. So that's okay. That's a normal reaction. So just let it go. And one of the things I didn't say in my other presentation, and I should have, is that a really good way to release stress in a crisis is to cry. And I got that from a friend of mine in graduate school. He sent out a letter to everybody. I guess people were acting really super stressed at finals, because finals is a crisis, right? For students. And he said, you know, if you're feeling really stressed, why don't you go have a good cry? And everybody thought it was so funny, but it's actually true. So if you're feeling super stressed, go have a good cry. Watch a movie that makes you cry, turn on a sad song, think about something that upsets you, I guess, and just, you know, go sit outside and let it out. It's okay. Another thing I do, another one of my tips is, I think this is number 4, is to have something to look forward to. And like right now, it's springtime, so I'm really looking forward to my roses blooming. And I go out and check on them every single day. And I'm just waiting for them to come up. And they still haven't yet, but I'm waiting. And I set different little things that I look forward to every day. So like tomorrow is my shopping day, so I'm looking forward to that. And later this week, I have like a special dinner planned for myself, and I catch up on my TV shows, or maybe there's like a movie I'm going to watch, or something that just like little things in life that you can look forward to. So you always wake up every day going, oh, I'm going to get to do this today. There's something exciting going on, or there's something that's going to make me happy or make me feel good today. The next thing is to practice a hobby. And I have a ton of hobbies. I don't know about you, but I have so many. It's like I can't hardly even get to them all. So I like walking. I like hanging out with my dogs. I like planting flowers. I had a garden before, which I did like doing it, but it was like, even with 3 little plants, it's like the most prolific little garden I've ever seen in my life. And so I didn't plant one the next year. And I like baking sometimes, but I can't always bake because it's not good for my body. And I like to read, and I write books and poetry, and I do cross stitching and crocheting. And the reason I put is you start a hobby project and finish it is because I have this blanket that I've been making for my dog downstairs, and it's been sitting there for like a year. And it is not a difficult blanket to make, but for some reason, I've been taking my sweet time doing it. And then I have another quilt that I've been cross stitching, and I'm pretty sure I started making it for this baby, and I'm pretty sure the baby graduated from high school by now. So just make sure that you finish the project that you start, because that gives you a sense of accomplishment. And that you're like, when you're going through the crisis, you're like, oh, wow, I wrote a book, or I made a blanket, or I did these really complex puzzles, or I lost 20 pounds, or I ran a 5K, or any number of things. I learned how to bake some awesome dish, like a jelly roll. My mom used to make those. They're really good. Anyway, so anything that you can, any hobby that you can start, then you'd start that, and then make sure you finish your hobby project, and that way you can like say, hey, I did this, and you can cross it off your list, and you can be impressed with yourself. The next thing that I do, the next 4 things I'm going to talk about, I actually do them every day, and it just helps me to clear my head. And sometimes I do it in the morning. And last night I did it at night before I went to bed, because I wanted to make sure if I'm going to talk about that I do it, that I actually do it. And so I meditate, usually like 10 minutes, where I don't think about anything. I just listen to the sounds of nature, or the sound of our house, and the air moving through the home, or the trees or the leaves outside, or my dogs breathing, whatever it is. But I just try to clear my mind of everything that I have going on in my head that day. And I do that for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I set a timer. I actually do set a timer because otherwise I'll be sitting there like, oh, I think it's been 10 minutes and it's like 2 minutes. So set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. The next thing I do is I write down dreams. And I'm not talking about like dreams that I have when I'm sleeping. I'm talking about like my dreams for my life. And so like, what are 10 things that I want out of life? Like, I want a swimming pool. I put my number one thing that I list every day actually is I say, everything is always working out for me. And I got that from Oprah Winfrey actually. And I've used it because it really, when you start thinking that way, that everything's working out for you, then you stop focusing so much on the problems or the issues and you focus more on what good things are going to happen to you. So, anyway, one of my goals is I want to get a new car and I want to have a house with a swimming pool. And I have some other things on there like, just living in a, feeling safe and secure in my home and um, being in a loving relationship, things like that, kind of like personal stuff. But I put all those down and then I write them down in a notebook and then I refer back to it like every day and to see like my progress, see if I'm really achieving those dreams. And one of the ways I do that is I make a plan. So I have my dreams and then I write down goals and I write down 10 goals that are specifically related to the dreams that I have. And so I will go through and I'll write down the 10 goals. So like if I want a new car, then I'm writing down like, hey, I need to fix my old car. I need to get new tires for it or whatever it is that I need to do. And I need to save money for the down payment or whatever. And if I want a house with a swimming pool, it's the same thing like, okay, well, I'm going to have to clearly move or build a pool where I live. And so just, I write down little goals and like how I'm going to achieve those goals and the things I'm going to do to satisfy them. And so sometimes I find that the more specific goals I have for an activity, then the more likely I am to achieve it. And sometimes I'll just go through and again, I refer back to it every day. Like last night, I crossed off like 5 goals off my list. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that's a lot. I didn't realize I had been doing all of that. I was pretty impressed with myself. Anyway, so go on to make sure you get your goals written down, and then that helps you to achieve your dreams. And then the next thing I always talk about is to list reasons for gratitude. And the reason I talk about that is almost every thought leader I've ever read and every book, every article, every single successful person who gives advice about being successful says to be grateful for what you have. And I am not kidding when I say that it's like Warren Buffett to Oprah to Joel Osteen, just every single person, the Pope, everyone, they all say the same thing, be grateful. So at the end of every day, I write down 10 things I'm grateful for. And some days it might be a little harder to think of 10 things. I mean, like right now, I could probably rattle off 10 things. Like I'm grateful for the weather, I'm grateful for my home, my dogs, I'm grateful for the food I have, I'm grateful for my furniture that I love, I'm, being able to work from home, that my computer, the internet, all of these different things. So I literally can just rattle off like 10 things. And if you can't come up with 10 things at first, it's okay if you say things that maybe you think they're silly, but they're actually not. Like maybe you're thankful for your pillow. I've written that one before because some nights I lay down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love my pillow. And then, or you're thankful for your bed or the quiet in your home or your family or your friends. It can be any number of things. Just pick 10 things from the day, or maybe you're thankful for the blue sky. You know, it can be that simple. So just think of 10 things to write down that you're grateful for every single day. And then finally, my 10th tip, this is my dog Mosey, and she is my little love bucket, and she makes me remember that I am loved, and you should remember that you're loved every day too. So just remember that there are people who love and care about you. Everyone is lovable. There isn't anyone on this planet, I don't believe, that isn't able to receive love and deserving of love. So if somebody tells you that you're not, then that's just because they're not capable of loving you. But everyone deserves and is capable of receiving love and is lovable. So remember you're loved, and remember that people care about you and want you to be happy and healthy and safe. So that is the end of my coping in crisis. I hope some of those tips have helped you. And I just want you all to know that, like I said, there are people who care about you, and every single day it does get easier. It will get better someday. So stay safe, stay healthy, take care. Bye-bye.